We are at beautiful Civic Hall with another edition of Access to the Arts. I'm Phil Quinn. Thank you for joining us. Today's episode, we talk with Monica Koechlein with the Richmond Symphony Orchestra. And we also get to meet John Cook, the Performing Arts Manager of Civic Hall. Come join us. Welcome to another edition of Access to the Arts. We are in the beautiful Civic Hall, a place that is really amazing for a community our size, and we're talking with the Executive Director of the Richmond Symphony Orchestra, Monica Koechlein. Good morning. How are you?
Good, I'm doing well, Phil. Thanks for having me today.
Okay, the season is coming up. It's called Treat Yourself. So there's always a theme each season, and this season we're treating ourselves to some great music.
We are. We're really excited to welcome the orchestra back to stage in just a little over 5 weeks. It's unbelievable, and get rolling again. Okay,
so let's talk about the season, because one of the things we always try to talk about with these organizations that are promoting arts in our area is that becoming a season member, a full support of the symphony. So talk about the show that's coming up, or the season this season. Tell us about those.
Sure. In September, we'll start off with Colin Davin, a classical guitarist, doing a piece by Castanuova Tedesco. I think I got that out. So we're really excited to have him on stage. In October, we'll invite the ever-famous Michael Chertok back, relatively local from the Cincinnati area. We have him every few years. He's really popular. In December, we'll be doing movie themes and music. And then in February, our concertmaster, Mari Thomas, will be featured. And finally, we'll end the season on March the 31st with Anton Nell, a second pianist. So we'll have two pianists, a classical guitarist, and our concertmaster violinist on stage.
Well, there's also this initiative with the symphony to not just be on stage here in Civic Hall, which is amazing, but also to get out in the community, and those events are happening throughout the year as well.
Absolutely. It's important to be a community member and to draw different audiences to the symphony in really unique and creative ways.
We know that upcoming there's an event that's happening at Forest Hills. Share that with us.
So on September the 2nd, the Saturday of the Labor Day weekend, at 5:30, we'll have a free brass quintet concert on the green, we hope, weather permitting. It'll be inside if not. It's family friendly, it's free, it's just a nice time to come out. It's for members and non-members. We'll have a cash bar available, and then an option for dinner for purchase afterwards.
RichmondSymphony.org, that's the website where you can go and find out a lot of information. One of the most impressive parts about what this organization does is Guy Victor Bordeaux. He's been here since 1997. I mean,
he's starting his 21st season on stage
really amazing.
This year.
What's it like working with him and this amazing symphony?
Well, you know, Guy and I through the years have really worked too, and it's only been 4 that we've been working together. We have a really strong relationship. We understand each other's rules very well, and we work to support each other in that and make sure that we are presenting a really clear face of the symphony and a really clear message of who we are.
It seems like it's also important for him to make sure that you're reaching out to youth. And sometimes we don't think about youth and the symphony or being involved or interested in orchestra. But in this community, there's a real initiative, a real push to make that happen. And that seems to be coming from both you and Guy.
Yes, and I think it's coming from all of the arts organizations in general. But with us, for whatever reason, the fall seems to be a better time for the schools to take in programming. And so we have a 7th grade concert coming up in September that's free for 7th graders in Wayne County and 3 surrounding counties. In October, we'll invite 3rd graders from 9 counties in Indiana and 3 in Ohio. We'll pack this place twice. So we'll see 1,850 3rd graders that morning for a free concert.
Wow.
And then later in October, we'll also have a 5th grade concert free for Wayne County kids and the surrounding community. And people can contact me for information. We still have seats available. And then also in the fall, we have 2 youth competitions. So our Orchestra Within an Orchestra is for high school students to audition with Guy directly and have an opportunity to sit and play with the symphony in December. It's a great opportunity, a long-standing program. And since our very beginning, the very first year of the symphony, its 61st season, we'll have our Young Artist Competition where one student will win the chance to play a solo with the symphony.
It's so impressive. This building that we're in, there's a lot of activity that happens here, a lot of it through Richmond Community Schools. What does it mean to have this kind of support for an organization like the Richmond Symphony Orchestra?
Sure. The Richmond Community Schools is such a strong proponent of making sure that all the kids in their community, all the kids in the schools have opportunities. And so to be able to perform in this facility for a reduced price, to be able to keep our prices low, and to be able to even have an office and a place here at no charge is really important to being able to provide free programming to kids. It just takes the place of those costs.
The Indiana Arts Commission is one of those organizations that I know is instrumental in helping spread this arts culture throughout the community, which is a big part of what we want to highlight here on this show. There's also a partnership with the Community Foundation of Randolph County. Share that relationship with us. Sure.
So the Indiana Arts Commission is state monies that come and are granted. The Community Foundation of Randolph County is the regional I would say the liaison of those monies, and so we write grants and submit them there, and then they hire a panel to kind of look those over. But the Indiana Arts Commission is supporting Civic Hall Associates, Richmond's Community Orchestra, I believe, Richmond's Shakespeare Festival, the Meltdown, Richmond Symphony, Richmond Art Museum, supporting many of the initiatives in city life in our community.
It's just tremendously important, and I think that as the community continues to grow and change and adapt from maybe where it was 30, 40, 50 years ago, arts is always a part of it. It's always that expression. What is your favorite part about the symphony experience, whether it's on stage or out at Forest Hills or in Elstro Plaza? What do you enjoy most about this experience?
Oh, I suppose I get the greatest thrill out of the concerts themselves. You know, the fundraising event, seeing children come into this facility and get off the bus, and their eyes just light up, and they're just it's like they're at the Louvre in Paris or something. They're very excited, and that's probably some of the highlights for me.
Sure. Monica Koechlein is our guest, the Richmond Symphony Orchestra. The .org is the website you can order. You can also call 966-5181. Before we go, there's an event in April. I want to make sure that people already get it on their schedule, because it sounds like it's a fever you want to catch.
It's a fever you want to catch. So
feel free to use that.
I will. So starting about 3 years ago, we kind of started this decades fundraiser, and we started with the 1940s out at the airport, did Boogie Woogie Ball, a salute to the World War II veterans. I think we had about 50 World War II veterans in attendance as our guests. It was fantastic and very cold, but it was a fantastic event. So we moved, it was so popular, we moved into the 50s, and we did Shake, Rattle, and Roll, and then had Elvis on stage. And then this last season we did Twist and Shout and brought in a Beatles group from Branson, Missouri. And on April the 28th this next year, we were going to leave the decades, but the outcry from this community that we had to do the 70s. We'll be doing a little bit of Symphony Night Fever on April 29th, 2018 at the Coleman Center.
That sounds just so much fun. But I know one of the best aspects of that event is an artist or a group or a tribute band working with the symphony, but then also there's this committee that gets together and really just knocks out all the intricate fine details to make the experience really worth it.
So we are just so fortunate to have the absolutely brilliant Ginger Gray in this community, who's helping with the Cope Gala, the Girls Inc. Gala, Chancellor's Medallion, the Earlham Presidents installation. What else? I can't even remember what else she has on her plate. but has managed to raise significant funds for many nonprofits. I should mention that the newest fundraiser in February for Richmond Art Museum and IUE's Palette to Palette. She would not be happy if I didn't mention that. But I will say that raising money for nonprofits is just her gift.
Well, and she's the hostess with the mostest. I mean, there's just no doubt about that, no doubt, right?
Absolutely. She's brilliant.
If someone wants to contribute to the symphony, they want to become a partner, maybe do something more than just be a ticket holder, what do they need to do?
So, you know, we have sponsorship opportunities, and just notifying me and talking through some of those opportunities to make sure that we find the best fit. Everybody who's a funder has a passion, and we're just trying to connect our passion with their interest. And so if they have interest, they should call me in the office. Again, 966-5181. I'd love to just be able to talk about what they might be interested in supporting.
Well, I know the season is upcoming. I know it's a lot of work to put it together. I know that tickets really can be sold and sold out for some of those shows, but it's never a bad idea to go to richmondsymphony.org or give the number that you just mentioned and try to get some tickets, because you just don't want to miss this opportunity to see a talented orchestra.
Absolutely.
Monica Koechlein, thanks for being a guest on the show today.
Thanks again.
Welcome to Access to the Arts. We're in beautiful Civic Hall and continuing our conversation. We talked earlier with Monica Koechlein from the Richmond Symphony Orchestra, and then today we're talking about the Civic Hall Associates, and we're pleased to meet John Cook. He's the Performing Arts Manager with Civic Hall. Thanks for being here, and welcome.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
We're in your house, and I'm saying welcome to you.
Well, thanks. It's great that you're here. I mean, it's a really impressive venue, that's for sure. And I really didn't know a lot about it when I first was asked to interview.
Sure.
And since then, I've learned quite a bit in the amount of time that I've been here.
Well, let's talk about that first experience. I mean, you're pulling into Richmond, Indiana. You're coming in and seeing Civic Hall. What were your first thoughts when you walked into this beautiful building?
I'm not sure if I can describe it completely, but I just know I drove up. From Indianapolis. I was in Indianapolis, and I was driving out here. I had my Google Maps on, and it's telling me where to turn. And so I turn onto Hub Etchison Parkway, and I'm driving down the street, and I run into this campus that looks like a little college. And I was in shock. I'm like, this is incredible, because I like the retro aspect or the historical aspect of buildings, and I like architecture, and just to see it was really impressive. And then to come inside and to see what this is like, especially since it was a gymnasium. Right. And I was told, oh, it's an old gymnasium. I'm like, so you have visions in your head. You're like, okay, well, we've got a stage and the basketball court, and that's, people running up and down in the short shorts and whatnot. But I came in here, and it's awesome. I mean, just awesome. And then on top of that, there's great people that work in here. The engineer is amazing. Mike Rogan is amazing. He knows what he's doing as far as lighting and sound. And then on top of that, we have a symphony orchestra that's housed here, that performs here. It's pretty amazing to think that this is in Richmond, Indiana, and it's like a jewel in the middle of, or on the edge of Indiana that I didn't know about.
I think we all call it a jewel all the time when we talk about Civic Hall, and the way that it sounds, the way that we hear feedback from people that perform here, groups that perform here, that just say, wow, this is a magnificent building. Let's talk about the 24th season.
Great.
It's sort of like NASCAR racing. The big Super Bowl is at the very beginning of the year, and the same way with this season. LeAnn Rimes is coming to Richmond.
No kidding. I think they've figured out a formula to some extent. I believe they've been bringing in a really popular country artist, and a lot of times too, country is kind of could be used loosely, because they've kind of bridged the gap between, what modern or folk music, I think, a lot of times. But anyway, I think LeAnn Rimes kind of fits that. She's amazing. She'll be here October 7th. That's our first proudly presenting performing series. Then we have The next group is Sons of Serendip. Now, it's an odd name, but if you're a fan of America's Got Talent, they were the, I think, season 7's runner-up. And from all accounts, it could have gone any way.
Right.
Whoever, I don't recall who won, but I know that they're really, really talented. They've performed with orchestras, they perform acoustically by themselves, they perform with added other groups, but they'll be traveling together, and they also play instruments that are rather unique. They've got a cellist, which is not necessarily unique, but a cellist, a harpist, a piano player, a vocalist. They're all trained professionally through universities. I think they went to Boston Conservatory, or Berkeley, one of the two. Up there in Massachusetts, but they're really, really talented musicians. They'll be here in our second show.
Okay.
Our third show, which I think could be amazing if you like Celtic dancers, which most people have heard of, and they've been around since the 90s. This is called Celtic Angels Christmas. So they're going to be performing dancing. So they have the male and female dancers, but they also have then a quartet of singers, and they're doing Christmas carols. It's basically almost like a variety show.
Sure.
So you've got dancing and singing, and the singers are amazing. The dancing is obviously very, very good. I'm always, whenever I go to PBS, I kind of get sucked into the Celtic dancers and things like that. They're really, really amazing. And so they're going to be here. That's in December. Then our next performance, I believe, will be in March, which is the Diamonds with the Jimmy Dorsey Orchestra, and they're led by Bill Toll, who used to be in the band. I think he's probably the closest in relation to Jimmy Dorsey.
Okay.
I mean, I think that he may have started, if I'm not mistaken, in the 50s, possibly playing with them.
But those are big bands, so that's a loud, large, fun sound, right?
Yeah,
okay.
it's like your 1940s,
Right.
not hip hop, but your big bands that are doing swing music and
Right.
things like that. And then the Diamonds are actually from the 50s. They did Little Darling, and so they're still doing what they do. And I think that it kind of will draw in. Great musicians are great musicians. So if you're a younger person and you really don't know who these people are, you should hear them, just because they're impressive, just because of their abilities as performers, whether they're vocalists or instrumentalists. It's amazing stuff. Okay. And then the last show, which happens in May, is the Paragon Ragtime Orchestra. That, I think, is very, very unique because they play very similar to what you would hear at like a movie soundtrack, but the movie soundtrack is from silent films. So they're going to have a screen down behind them. There'll be silent movies that play, and what they've done is recreated the music that goes along with these silent films, and it's awesome. I mean, I just think it's so unique that I think anybody would appreciate it, and just to see it happening with the actual movie behind you, I think it's awesome. There's the visual, and then there's also the musical experience because they're such great players.
It's one of those experiences that is unique, and you want to say that you were there and got to see it at some point. That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about ticket sales. How do people buy season memberships for this season?
That's a great question. Our season tickets sales you can purchase at our box office, which is here at Civic Hall. Cindy Kate is the box office manager. She is here from 8 to 4 during the day. If you are interested, you can go online. Right. You can reserve your tickets, and then we'll get a notification. We'll then contact you immediately as far as what we have available. The season tickets are still on sale up until September 5th. After September 5th, which is Labor Day, I always confuse those. As soon as Labor Day is over, then we go to single show ticket sales. Okay. But at this point, if you're looking to get LeAnn Rimes, you're going to probably need to buy season tickets because they are going fast. And we're really happy about that, but we'd encourage you, and that's what's most currently been happening. People want Leanne Rimes tickets, and they realize they're not going to get them if they just want her ticket for the show. So they're going to have to get the season ticket pass. Now the prices are really affordable, and the venue is intimate enough that you can sit any place in here and it's a great seat. I mean,
right.
It's not so large that if you're sitting in the back row, you're going to miss it. You're not. If it's a great seat.
Yep.
So it's a great value, I think.
John Cook is our guest. The phone number to call Cindy at the box office is 973-3350. If you want to do that, civichall.com is the website. There are some shows that are outside the season that are going to be hosted here as well. And some of those are geared towards youth too. Share those with us.
They're amazing also. I just honestly cannot believe the shows that are in this auditorium. Mind-boggling. We want to make sure that everybody's aware that the United States Air Force Band from Washington, D.C. and the Singing Sergeants, which they're a group together. They have a choir and then obviously a concert band. I believe they were here maybe 4 or 5 years ago. If you didn't see them then, you need to come out and see them. And the thing about this is they're free tickets.
Okay.
You just have to get a ticket. And the same way to get the ticket is you can call us at Civic Hall, the number that you just rattled off, or you can email us, or you can come in and ask for tickets. And basically all we're asking is that you take the amount of tickets that you're going to use.
Okay.
But you can get, let's say there's 10 in your family, you can get 10 tickets. And if you've never seen the Singing Sergeants in the United States Air Force Band, you need to see it. That's all I can tell you. If any of the DC bands, they're symphony level performers. You can go on YouTube and find them any place. You can see some really amazing flash mobs that they've done, which were a big thing that started happening, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, 7 years, I don't know. But you should check them out if you have never heard them, and you need to hear them live. Another performing group that's going to be in here is the Trans-Siberian Orchestra Experience.
Okay.
It's a miniature version of Trans-Siberian Orchestra, which their fame is basically taking electronics and string instruments and electrifying those and doing holiday music, right, is what basically they've been known for. This is very much the same thing. This is a group that's out of Branson, Missouri, which is a big resort area where they fit on stages like ours, and they're going to be here, so you need to see that. And we really encourage you to get tickets for that. That's in December as well. Oh, I take that back. November 17th. So those tickets are on sale now. They're ready to be purchased.
Okay.
And we encourage you to do that. We also have one other group that's going to be in here with our choir, which is from Ball State University. They're the University Singing, the University Singers. And they're Indiana Ambassadors of Music is their title. It's a great concert. I was actually in the group when I was in college. Can't remember their name, of course, but I went to Ball State University. Give a plug for Ball State. But it's a great performance. You want to see them. Plus our choir is going to be singing with them as well. So you'd see the Richmond choir, the chamber singers will be singing with them. So it's a great opportunity for them too.
That's a great experience too. Yeah. Before we go, John, and John Cook is the Performing Arts Manager here at Civic Hall, I want to talk about the volunteers. Those folks in the red vest that are always so great at helping usher, and
right,
that is a big group of people that want to give back to the community, yeah, and they're a lot of fun.
Well, it's interesting because tonight is their first meeting, and it's actually my first time to meet the majority of them. I've met several in passing, or they've come in for just a chat, but that's another part of this Civic Hall that's so unique. I believe there's 80 potential ushers, and amazing. As you said, I know they volunteer their time. They're very proud of this venue. They love Richmond. They're great ambassadors of the city, and they also love music. So it's their chance to help bring people in, get them to their seats, make sure that that they have the experience that they want them to have. They also then get to see the performances as well, but they're here to serve the patrons that are here in Civic Hall. But they wear red vests, and they have flashlights, and they know what they're talking about. There's so many of them that have that have talked to me, and they're just excited about performances, and they can't wait for it to start. So they all start signing up and picking out the shows that they want to be a part of, and off we go. You know, they'll also be ushering all the events that we have for the school, which includes like our choir concerts for all the elementary schools, band concerts, the orchestra concerts here for the high school, the choir concerts that are for the school as well. We also have 2 elementary educational programs that'll be here in October and November. One is Pinkalicious the Musical, and this is about a girl that obsesses over things that are pink.
Okay.
And from what I understand, I don't want to give it away, but she eats too many pink cupcakes, and so that's where, you know, the problem arises. But they have to come up with a solution, and that's in October. And we have 2 shows of that, and they happen at 9:30 and 12:30 in October. And then we also have Lightwire Theater. They are featuring A Very Electric Christmas, and they were also on America's Got Talent. And if you've seen these people, it's another amazing show that I wish we could have the you know, older people see. This is for just the 4th through 6th graders, but they put on like neon suits, and they have music that's holiday music, and they do a show through watching what these electric outfits do to create some kind of Christmas show. And I've seen bits and pieces of what they do on, I saw them on America's Got Talent, but I also saw them like on YouTube. And if you haven't seen it, it's amazing. That's also, I mean, there's just amazing things that happen in here. So,
civichall.com is the
correct.
website to go get some tickets. There's so much going on.
There is.
I want to thank you for choosing
thanks.
to come to the Richmond community and for being a part of Civic Hall. John Cook, thanks for being a guest on Access to the Arts.
I appreciate it.
Thanks again for joining us for Access to the Arts. What a beautiful building. Civic Hall has a lot to offer. Thanks again to Monica Koechlein with the Richmond Symphony Orchestra, and it was a pleasure getting to meet John Cook, the new performing arts manager with Richmond Civic Hall. It's a great theater, it's a great facility, it's a great place to be for music and arts and culture. And join us again for another edition of Access to the Arts.